And while I'm on the topic of being trapped in your own ideas, oh wait, that was yesterday's video. You might want to check out the video right before this video. I'll link it in the description below so you get the starter on this. But this is something that is kind of like building on top of it, but at the same time, it's not really. I want to talk about getting trapped in your own ideas around social media specifically. And for me, that is especially true for Twitter and Instagram. And the better title for this video probably is something on the lines of what happened when I stopped using Instagram. But now back to the topic. The idea here being, I got trapped in the idea of I have to use Instagram to build my business and to build a following there, because Instagram is the new hit platform. It's the platform that everybody's using. It's the cool photos, the travel locations, the stories. IGTV kind of flop, but at the same time, it's a new direction and it's a powerful new media outlet. And a lot of people have massive success on that platform. But what happened when I actually chose to go off of that platform? Or more so, why did I even go off of the platform, and now what did I learn from it? Well, to kind of like give you an idea of why I stepped away from it, that has a lot to do with the previous video that I just mentioned that was yesterday. It has a lot to do with the topic of first principle thinking. Is Instagram actually benefiting my business right now? And is it actually benefiting me to create new photos on a regular basis for this extremely fast-paced community? And once I was doing that thinking process, what I actually ended up thinking was, Instagram, the stories have a 24-hour cycle. They're super, super fast and they're gone. Photos on Instagram, maybe 7 days, but not really, and a lot of the time those things go away just as quickly as anything else on that platform. And so for me, my decision making around Instagram was that I basically said that platform is so quick and it's so unsearchable. Yes, there's hashtags and explore and stuff like that, but even there, you're flooded with new content all the time, that I said to myself, I'm going to step away from the platform for a while. And the reasons, as I've just mentioned, were that it is very fast-paced and you don't really build a community on there. You actually probably are better off building your community somewhere else and then bringing them over to Instagram, because I do think that Instagram is a great place to interact with a community in the comments or in photos, and you can share behind the scenes materials and stuff like that. However, for me, it meant that making content for YouTube, for example, is way more valuable, because I can make videos that are actually searchable by people even in a month from now, 2 months, 3 months, a year, maybe even 2 years, depending on the topic that I'm talking about and depending on what people are interested in at different times. It is a search engine that actually helps people find my content. And I personally believe that the same thing is still true for something like a blog, for example. People can keep searching for that content and they keep coming back. And of course, not all of my videos are going to be interesting in 2 years' time, but at least the ones that are searchable or the ones that are interesting in the future, they are able to find that kind of stuff. Whereas photos, if I take a photo of a waterfall in Bali, tomorrow there will be 5,000 other photos that are exactly the same topic, and nobody actually will find my photo at all. So stepping away from this platform that is extremely fast-paced to kind of like focus my energy on the things that are actually mattering right now has been a huge impact on what I've been creating and I've been able to have time for. Because creating photos is not just something where you take a picture on your phone and snap, you're gone, or at least that's not how I worked with it. And maybe that's to my own detriment, that I was kind of like loving the quality of photos and I was taking the photos with the proper camera, and then it's a whole process to kind of like go through Lightroom and put it on Instagram and write a description and everything, and I wanted to make it in a good way. And maybe rethinking that is a different alternative to the whole approach. But for the time being, going off of it and just deleting the app from my phone was the best choice that I could make at this point. But one important thing that I wanted to mention in a video like this was also that not everything gets better just because you stop using Instagram or Twitter. And that is because it's very easy to just fall into the trap of doing something else that is maybe even like maybe worse or equally as bad. For me, for example, yes, it's true that I don't scroll through the feed on Instagram anymore, and I don't spend my time on the Explore page just seeing all kinds of random stuff. And I also don't create any photos anymore for the Instagram platform, at least at the moment, but it does not mean that I'm not wasting my time with other things. For me, for example, I found out that removing Instagram from my phone and not being on that platform a lot kind of like gave me a whole lot of time that I all of a sudden was spending on YouTube. And now, one could argue that I want to build my community on YouTube. I want to create more videos. I might want to start some new topics like live streaming or like the whole video creation of courses and everything. I'm trying to learn here. And I do believe that YouTube, for the most part, has more of that as an opportunity that you can actually learn something, because you're like, what are you learning on Instagram except for seeing nice places and you're getting delusional about what other people's lives looks like? On YouTube, at least you have tutorials and stuff like that. But is it really worth it to watch more and more and more and more and more of that? And that's the question that I've been asking myself, and that's the question that I need to ask myself, because it's not really better to not spend 4 hours on Instagram, but then watch hours on YouTube and just try to learn more and more and more. But on the contrary, I actually need to get going. I actually need to make moves towards making more videos instead of trying to learn the newest tricks and best techniques. Sometimes it's better to just make whatever you want to make instead of learning more about it. And so removing Instagram from my phone, removing Twitter from my phone, yes, it kind of like focused me down and kind of like concentrated my attention better. But at the same time, it also gave way to kind of like just lose time everywhere else or put it in other places. And if I'm not careful by placing my attention on certain things very, very mindfully and focusing down on the actually important aspects, it's very easy to just fall into the next rabbit hole and get sucked down that one. And you're not really better off than you were before. Maybe a little bit, but not entirely. And so ask yourself where you're putting your attention. Ask yourself, is it really important right now for you to be on Instagram? Is it really important for you to be on YouTube? Or maybe it is really important for you to write a new article on your blog or wherever you want to actually create your content. And don't get drawn into the belief that everyone needs Instagram, everyone needs Twitter or anything like that. What my personal opinion is, it is this. If you love to make photos and you love to kind of like engage with the Instagram community, go ahead, spend your time there, but be mindful of spending your time on the Explore feed randomly rather than taking photos. Like, where do you actually focus your time and energy? Is it creating something or is it looking at stuff? If you love to write, I can only recommend you to start a blog, maybe create a Medium account and create your content there, because it is searchable. Google can index your stuff and then people can find it whenever they want to, and you have much more potential there. And if you create videos, put them on YouTube instead of wasting your time just making behind the scenes photos on Instagram. All of those things can benefit from being on other platforms like Twitter and Instagram. But I personally believe if you create on your main platform, be it Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, choose which one of those is your main focus and then build something there first, and then you can add on other things on top of that. I still find it very hard to do that because it is so easy to get drawn into the idea that we have to be everywhere and we have to put our attention everywhere at the same time. But narrowing the focus and only being on one of those platforms versus 5 gives so much more energy and direction that it probably will be helpful in the long run. And of course, this is not guaranteed. It's definitely something that I've been working on to narrow my focus and work on the things that I think are having a long-term impact rather than a short-term impact, and to increase my overall quality, my overall output on the platforms that matter to me the most, and one of which is YouTube, hence the videos that I'm putting out here rather than posting some random photos on Instagram. I hope you think about this topic and you create that kind of like purpose and focus for yourself. Where do you want your time spent? And that kind of question. If you have any thoughts around the topic, please leave them down in the comments below. I would love to interact with you on that topic, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.